Yo, Jerome Benson Carter, Pastor Carter. I got the text message, man. I'm gonna try to stop through tomorrow. Appreciate that. Share. I don't see it. Is it there?
Yeah.
Memorex, it's live. We got it. I hear it popping, so we must be live. I hear somebody popping. Somebody said something. James Mack in the house checking in. What up, fam?
James. What's up, man? What's up with that modded Xbox, man? You haven't gotten back to me. Come on, J Mac. Hit me with that modded Xbox, man. I need to know. I can't wait for NCAA 2023 to come out. I want that modded.
Have y'all established if y'all related or not?
Nah, we're not. It's a microwave, man. The name microwave means that we gotta stick together.
Just
in this world of non-max.
You just might be related. I saw somebody named Cobbs on I want to say it was in the football group, or might have been the anti-ESPN group. And I had to ask her, I said, are we related?
Uh-huh.
And she was like, my husband know everybody, possibly. So I hit him up. I said, look here, bro. We might be related. All right, we up on crashing here. Crashing there. The devil is a lie.
No. The devil is a lie.
He won't let me be great, but he can't stop me. There he is. All right. I did my post. I did mine. And I got a glitch on the screen, but we're good to go. All right, Mac. Where we at? Today's slate, man. All right, man. Pose the question from a coach's standpoint, from a father's standpoint. We're done playing. And now the conversation is always up every day. Who's the greatest athlete? Who's an icon? Who's just a Hall of Famer? Championships, what's important? How many championships? How did you win the championship? Circumstances. Going pro, period. Or just getting your college degree. So we have student athletes in our midst, under our influence. What should our message be? What's the goal for student athletes, for athletes in general, man? What could we talk about when that topic comes up? Now, my buddy sent a picture out, Keith Willis, of a pair of Pro Wings. And if you remember Pro Wings from Payless Shoe Source, and you wore a pair of Pro Wings at school, you was getting bagged on.
Oh, you got capped on hard.
Yeah, but, and it's like, well, my son doesn't know the struggle. I don't think any of his friends know the struggle of getting a cheap pair of sneaks. And I was a kid that couldn't play travel ball, slam and jam because of the cost. I could only play slam and jam when the dad let me play on his dime. So today's athlete, travel ball fees, $250 shoes. Have we damaged our kids to a point where they think that they are privileged, or dad and mom got this, I need this to play sports? So I'm gonna pose that to you. And then I saw my queen Serena get beat by the princess Naomi Osaka, and I was wondering, is this it? Are we getting close to it? Because she's still playing at a high level, but when will it be the prime time for her to walk away? And when should pros retire in any sport?
Yeah.
All right. And what if game? We played a what if game. I'll throw out my first one to you and the homies so they can get an idea how the game goes. My first one was, what if college athletes got paid upon graduation? And we have a couple more. And last but not least, the heavy topic: have sports helped to end racism, or has it perpetuated racism to a point of no return? So it's a heavy one. We're going to get to it. 1585. That's Mac. I'm AC. Here's our intro, man.
Who banging?
Who want a villain that's willing to pack? Wow. I put it down like a hog. I got what you need. All right, man.
So from the west
Everybody's
side.
scared to do it. James Mack. Everybody's scared. What Bone Crusher say? Never scared. I told a club bouncer like Mark Paul Robinson, I ain't never scared. Monarchs are in the house. I heard California football is open, man. How you feel about that before we get into our stuff?
Spring football. That's what they do in NPR? They doing spring football now?
Modern day never stops.
It's gonna be modern day St. John Bosco every week. We're gonna have a thriller every week because they're gonna be the only two teams playing. Servite might get into the mix too. Never know.
You gotta pay to play, baby. Private schools, run things. I got my OG Fanya Baruti in the house. One of the OG Long Beach homies. Introduced me to the gang task force in Watts to get some act right when I was working in the projects over there on 102nd Street. Dr. Barute, activist, man of the streets, Mark Paul. He's excited. You locked and loaded. That sounds like a girl that quits her boyfriend and has one waiting at the house. She has another boyfriend after she dumps this guy. Y'all ain't stop practicing, Mark. Don't even trip. Modern day's a well-oiled machine. So does that mean the LA City is gonna play?
No, I don't know if LA City gonna play. They're not even opening up the schools just yet. I mean, you send kids to school without vaccinations because I'm quite sure a lot of them aren't going to get vaccinations. The teachers were not even on deck to be some of the people to get vaccinations. So we'll see how it is. So they probably won't have no football this year. I feel bad for the seniors, but I'd rather them have life than to go out there and risk it all for it's still a game at the end of the day. Something that we love to do, but it's still a game. Your life is more important.
Yeah. It's a tough conversation, especially when you see your boys playing back east via Instagram or whatever some people have access and the ability to pack the family up and go move to Arizona or Las Vegas and get it going, while our kids don't have the privilege. And that's a great kind of like prelude to our conversation about race in sports. The access, the ability to play certain sports, the ability to play travel ball, the expense of playing certain sports. And it's a great divide in our country that nobody wants to talk about. And I noticed this when I go to my son's workouts and my son's games. There are levels from 5 years old to 18 years old, and each team has how many kids on the team, and they all have on $100 pair of sneakers.
Yep.
It's like, man, this is a big business, billion-dollar business, and I missed the boat. I should have been in on the shoe business when I was in school, and we had a Reebok deal, and the Reebok people came around UCLA, and I ignored them. You know what I'm saying? Like, dang it, that's a networking opportunity I missed.
Yeah. But we wasn't thinking that way though. Nowadays it's levels to our knowledge of economic growth. We wasn't thinking like that. We're individually making it on our own, not worried about trying to work our angles to do something. So because it's kind of an angle to be worked. Who would have thought the shoe game would be big in sports? Nobody, unless you were a person that was trying to hustle and make it that way. So it's crazy, man.
The shoe game, the shoe game really makes me mad. I go to the shoe convention with my kids. When I saw them buying some Travis Scott sneakers for $3,000, and I said, "You guys realize these are Air Force Ones with an upside down Nike swoosh, right? Like, I don't get it. Those look like the same shoes, but okay."
Value.
Yeah, just because he has a rap song that I don't know, and he has some peanut butter Reese's Cup cereal. I didn't get it. All right, man. First topic: icon, GOATs, Hall of Famers, champs, pro, college, realistic goals for our athletes, man. So you're a coach, Jimmy. You're a dad. You're a son of a coach. What is realistic for for student athletes, and what should be the goal be?
Man, it's tough because when I was a student athlete, I got to put myself in that. I remember coming into high school, and my goal was to go to college, be a college athlete. Hopefully, parlay that into a pro career. I knew I wasn't going to be that big, but I was hoping that skills and speed would get me to where I wanted to go. Now, with certain players, certain athletes, you could tell them, hey man, if you put in the work with your size, your speed, your athleticism, you could possibly be a pro. Even if they're not that good, you could possibly be a pro. I mean, you've been on teams in the pros that you like, man, how does dude on the team? I'm quite sure you've seen that. So some of these guys, man, it depending on the guys, man. I mean, like if you're coaching at Bosco or Mater Dei, telling kids that they is something that you can sell them on, because you're going to get the top notch, top tier, good character kids. When you're just working at certain programs that you're just getting the neighborhood kids, a lot of these kids are malnourished. A lot of these kids never had nobody really looking out for them. Some of these kids, their first time ever playing any type of organized sport is when they come into your program. So with some of these kids, man, you have to set goals and levels to where they need to be. Now, you get those once in a lifetime generational type guys like a Randy Moss, LeBron James, stuff like that. You can easily talk to those guys about the pros. You're going to be giving them a different message than you'll be giving everybody else, because you can't tell the 5'5" tough corner that you got that's over there locking people up with all the big heart that, hey man, it's a possibility you can be a 5'5" corner. You could be a 5'5" corner at the next level. It's not going to happen. They're going to see you over there and they're going to toast you all day long. So, I mean, it's levels to it. You got to know who you're talking to, what type of kid. I mean, that's one thing a lot of coaches, I don't know if they do that. They don't know what type of kids that they're dealing with. They just know them on a coach's level. I had a kid who was telling me he had D1 aspirations. I mean, I just was really honest with him. I probably should have not been honest. I probably should have gassed him up a little bit. I was like, dude, you don't have the work ethic. You don't have the attitude that will get you there and make it. Like, you will be kicked off the team within a week. You're just not that guy. Your goal should be, let me get to college. Let me work on myself. Let me get something going for myself, because you're not going to make a sports team at the college level. You might not even make a sports team at the junior college level if the junior college program is ran right. You're not going to make it, dude. You're just like the wrong type of person for that. Like, and then you're not a great athlete on top of that. So I talked to him about the type of person he was, and I let him know he wasn't that. And it's sad that you have to do that, but man, it's better than for that kid to work at it and then go there and meet that failure. Maybe you should let them go there so they can meet that failure, but it is good that if you're a coach and you care for them, you got to be honest with them. But I don't know, man. It's pretty tough, man, because when you made me think about it, I put down what would you want to be at that level? Like, what is it that you want to aspire to? And I ranked them of what would be the top notch, in my opinion. To be an icon would be at the top. To be a Hall of Famer would be next. To just be a pro would come in third. To be a champion, I think being a champion comes with a lot of luck, a lot of other people help, especially when it comes to team sports. And then being a collegiate would be the most realistic of them, but at the end of that list. There's more collegiate programs, D1, D2, D3, FBS, FCS, that you can possibly get to, even at the JC level. So that's very realistic for a lot of athletes. But once again, like I had to tell one of my players, hey man, you got to have the right attitude and you got to have some type of talent just in order to get there. So that's the most realistic that you can do. You can't just walk onto Ohio State, think that you're gonna play. That's not going.
You had a couple of good days of practice. Now you're going pro. Motown, what up? Long time no see, fam. Throw it up, my boy Karif Allman, Eastern Pequot in the house. What up? Yeah, James Max said you're keeping it way 100. My wife makes fun of me because when I gas some student athletes up and I encourage them, I don't necessarily put them in the league. But I was, anything is possible, but everything's not realistic. As long as you have that in your mental, that it's a very slim chance that you're gonna go pro. But there's a very good chance that you can play in college. Now, a lot of kids don't even make varsity in high school. And, and,
Yeah.
and the kid lacks the it factor. And the it factor, like you just said, can be a number of attributes, and work ethic is one of them. If you naturally are out there working hard and that's something you do on GP, you have the body that matches the professional and the acumen to understand the game. You know how to play, you've been playing your whole life. All these things come into play. People ask me all the time, how does Long Beach probably put so many players out? I don't have a formula, but I do have what's in the water, and that's just belief. Belief, and from a young age being put in position according to body type, athletic ability, and then being paired with coaches who have the technique and training necessary to make you believe that this is something you can attribute to the training and upbringing of being in this family. So we expect to go to college, and then we expect to have a pro day. Now, at that point in time, you got to perform. And then if you perform well, there's a good chance you can make a team, because you're going to get to camp way more prepared than your college teammates, contemporaries, anybody you go against from different colleges across the country. We always have an upper hand. So it's not unrealistic for a kid that stars at Long Beach Poly or Sarah Gardena or Bosco or Mater Dei to believe they can go to the league. Just like it's not unrealistic for a player at Sierra Canyon in basketball. To use my buddy Amari Bailey's son. I mean, Amari Bailey's a kid. My buddy is Aaron Bailey, and his son is Amari Bailey, and he's at Sierra Canyon. He's committed to UCLA, and he's probably going to reclassify and enroll in UCLA early and play next year, and one and done and leave, go to the league, because he's a professional. He's already a pro. He plays with pros. He dominates open run. He plays at a high level, even at the Rico Hines open runs. He looks like a pro. Go pro, bro. Go pro. It's automatic. You're a pro. And that's different. Bronny James doesn't even look like a pro yet. He looks like a pretty good college player. And it's not unrealistic that he will go pro because of his pedigree. But those other kids at Sierra Canyon that I see practicing every day with my son when I take him to the Valley, they are not pro prospects like the kids that left last year, like Amari Bailey, and these other guys that are high profile, Mikey Williams. You know, all these guys are high profile, going to the league. It's already written as long as they stay healthy. There are so many kids that are getting brainwashed by watching Instagram, by believing the hype of their stars. How many stars did you get? Are you a 4-star, 5-star? All these different factors are coming to play to make your trajectory continue to fly. How many kids? The kid from Long Beach Poly, Peyton Watson, #1 player in California. He's KD. He's all KD. He's 6'9", about to be 6'10". All skills, because he was not that tall when he was young. So sky's the limit. 1 year, UCLA, he's going to be gone. That's realistic for him, like you said. If everything matches up, it's not unrealistic. But how many percentage of kids does that cover? 1%, 2%? So I think it's like you said, college, man. You ain't gassing nobody. Motown said, I'm not gassing nobody. Hit them books. Absolutely. Digging Hill in the house. They can make it. Motown says they can make it, but when they don't make it, that's where it becomes a problem. You become Rand University. Them dudes at the corner.
I agree with Mutan down at the bottom where he says the star BS in high school. I remember when we played in football in Inglewood, our players were so busy worried about the stars on these other players. They were worried about that. They don't understand when you get to college, all them stars are erased. It's time to man up. Nobody care about your stars. A dude that's been there for 2 years before you got there, he a 5-star too. He a 5-star at that level.
Yeah.
You just now bringing your 5 stars to that level. That man's hungry and ready to play. You don't know yet, and they have an advantage over you because they know plays, they know concepts, they seen the other teams. They probably even got some game action, so they're not afraid of you. But listening to the Shannon Sharp podcast, and he had Adrian Peterson. Did you happen to catch that? Where Adrian Peterson said he felt that out of high school,
Yeah.
he could have played in the NFL.
Yeah.
Like, man, I had to think about it, man. His freshman year at Oklahoma was absolutely amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I think he ran for like 1,500 yards, and he was by far the best player on that team. And he lost out in the Heisman Trophy to Minor. And I was just thinking, like, man, that dude probably could have. I mean, I don't think he would have been the star, but I think he, he could have got maybe 30-40% of the carries and at the pro level, because he was just that dude, though.
Yeah.
How many guys are just that dude? And that's where the realism comes in at.
Yeah, I think it is important, especially in football, that they don't shoot their wad and think that they're the next great thing, because when you get to college, it's eye-opening, man. You remember playing the guys we played with. I mean, you remember what's his name, Achilles Davis, or what was his name, little running back, is it Akil Davis? Akil Davis
worked for the FBI, right?
He had like 10,000 yards in high school, and we were recruiting him, and I believe it was Neuheisel, or was it Neuheisel? Was like, we really need to get this kid, and he came on the trip, and we're like, this little dude, and he like, yeah, he had more yards than Skip and Sharmon Shaw put together, and we were like, yep. I need to see the film, like we need to.
It's like when you go up to play Washington State, you know how we stayed in Moscow, Idaho?
Yeah. So
they would have the Idaho high school football on TV. I remember me and Tom McBride was sitting in the room. We were like, dude, we would dominate Idaho. We score every other play.
Man.
To the pros, right out of high school, and we played in Idaho. We would destroy these kids, man.
Yeah.
It was absolutely crazy. But I don't know, man. I think when you get to the college level, and this is what I was trying to tell this young man, it takes a very special person to not get broken down in that first fall camp. If you don't get broken in that first fall camp, you can survive and play early, and just play. Because that first fall camp, man, I was used to running away from cats in high school. I wasn't running away from nobody at that level. I wasn't, I had good open field moves. I wasn't. The dudes was like closing on you so fast you couldn't even get into your moves, and I surely wasn't too big enough to dip on nobody and run through nobody. So it was eye-opening, man. I remember just thinking like, dude, am I ever gonna see the field? That was my first thought after the first week. I don't think I'm gonna ever see the field. Man. These dudes are fast and they're good, and we haven't even put on pads yet. I could just imagine when these dudes put on pads, they gonna be out here trying to kill. It was. I wasn't scared, but it just hit my mind like, dude, I don't know if I was ready for this. Oh. That's just how I felt.
And you had it easy. You didn't have Carl Greenwood. I had to go against Carl Greenwood, and we were always in press cover 2. They were always in press cover 2. My first day playing receiver at UCLA, my first 2 years against Carl Greenwood. And you know how big and long Carl Greenwood is. And Carlton Gray is just as big and just as long. And everywhere you put me at the Z or the X, I'm against this big, long, strong corner playing cover 2, and I got to get an outside release. It's over with. I'm getting him up. Good. And I immediately began to rethink my hustle. Like, is this going to be, I said, I can't get off the jam. I'm getting jammed up. Dudes are bigger than me at cornerback. I ain't looking in the middle with Othello Henderson and Travis Collier and them big jokers in the middle trying to attack your head off. I was just like, man, this is different.
Travis Collier head in that helmet probably look like Jack in the Box. So I'm actually like, I ain't going across that with that head.
Is Travis on the line? Is Travis on the line? I said he got a neck roll at free safety. I am not going in there. And Othello had a neck roll at strong safety. I was okay with that. And then Matt Darby, way before your time, my very freshman year, Matt Darby was huge. And these dudes had neck rolls at safety coming down on the hash, ready to knock you out. My boy, Dr. Ianson in the house. What up, sir? Good to see you, my sir.
A lot of people, because even Teddy Lawrence wasn't a big dude, but Teddy Lawrence was so quick and so agile Like, I broke Teddy Lawrence down on a curl route once, and I swear I saw him fall.
He got up.
The ball came, he was picking it and going back the other way. I was like, I thought he failed. They were like, it's Teddy Lawrence. Teddy Lawrence is going to hit the ground. He going to get it.
Tyler Taylor,
I was like, oh,
incredible athlete, incredible high school quarterback at San Diego Morris High School.
Yeah.
So he might look like his hips are uneven because he walked real funny. But man had burners, man. He can run. He had all that booty.
Yeah,
he had all that booty. He can run.
Big smile. Yeah. Always had a big smile.
Yeah, I still keep in touch with Big Ted, and him and his wife have a ice cream business. Motown said when I got to Washington State, he said I found out quick I needed to hit the weights real quick.
Hey, Motown, were you there with Mark Fields? Were you at Washington State with Mark Fields?
I think he's before that. Mark Fields my year. So Motown and them were about 2 or 3 years before us.
Because Mark Fields, and that's an icon at Washington Prep, man.
Man,
when
Washington State too.
Man,
he's a 40-yard dash icon.
Yeah, he was.
He played.
That man was
he played gunner at linebacker. So he played outside gunner on punt coverage. That's how fast he was.
Yeah, he was a man.
I think he was the fastest player on the team in 1998, New Orleans Saints. Him and Gunnar Torrey ran 4.2s in the middle of the
Mark Fields, man.
Yeah, Mark was coming in. Yeah, Mark was coming in while Motown was leaving. 4-3 guy.
See, Motown put 3, yo.
All right, all right. Hypothetically, you're a professional. Say you have all the tools. Say you're, let's say, Chad Ochocinco body type. Perfect size, perfect quickness, perfect speed, great hands. Is being the greatest of all time a realistic goal, or you're setting yourself up? Because he was putting a gold jacket on before he even got to a Pro Bowl.
Yep.
I know you want to be confident. I know you want to be extra self-promoting to get those types of endorsement deals and get your name in the paper and to trend and be popular. But is that something you're setting yourself up for failure? Would your goal be the Hall of Fame? Would your goal be to be a champion? Would your goal be to be one of the best to ever do it?
I mean, because I don't believe in GOATs. So, I mean, because it's just too hard to say who is what. We all know that different offenses, different systems, different defenses, all that stuff. I mean, we can just go by what we see. Like, there's no telling if Ronnie Lott played for the Rams or Ronnie Lott had been Ronnie Lott. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people would think he would be, but we don't know. So I would want to be an icon. I think the icon is the biggest, because you got to think about like Jackie Robinson. That's an icon. A guy who, because to me, an icon is somebody that's on and off the field where they bring it all. They give you their all. You can see the total complete person. I think anybody can just get lucky enough to get a ring. I mean, I had a teammate in Berlin. He got cut off the team. The only reason why he made the team is because the other running back failed the drug test, so they brought him back. He ended up parlaying that to being a practice squad player for the Rams. But if the other player would have never got caught smoking, he'd have never been on that 99 Rams Super Bowl team. So I get it. You want to be a champ, but like Charles Barkley, nobody diminishes Charles Barkley. Nobody diminishes Barry Sanders. I even think if Walter Payton would have never got a ring, nobody would have been like, well, Walter Payton couldn't put his team over the top. If you ever seen Sweetness play, you'd be like, woohoo, that man's a...
He beat Barry Sanders.
That man's the man.
He was Barry Sanders.
Yeah.
Without the champion, he's Barry Sanders.
Think about it. What's our guy? Bo Jackson. Bo Jackson played 2 complete seasons if you count all his games. He didn't play whole seasons. He played half a season. So he played 2 whole seasons in those 4 seasons that he played. He's an icon. Legendary. You know what I'm saying? Our guy, Earl Campbell, they're icons. I want to be an icon because icons are never forgotten. You'll always remember them, and there's no controversy to their greatness. Hall of Famers, we can debate on the Hall of Famers. Yes, you made the Hall of Fame, but really, did that dude, was he Hall of Fame worthy? You know what I'm saying? Or maybe just because of the era that he played in, he was able to get to the Hall of Fame. But I mean, I'd rather be the legendary icon than to be, you know, and icons get tennis shoe deals like Michael Jordan, where he ain't played in nearly 20 years and people still pay top dollar for his shoes. That's an icon. I would want that because that means that my legacy is Trump tight. There's nothing else that Nothing can detract from my legacy. Being a champion, people can detract from you being a champion because they could be like how we do Robert Horry, but he was just a role player. But Robert Horry was a good role player who made big shots at the right time. So I mean, I'd rather be an icon.
So okay, so here we go. What determines an icon? Because you said Robert Horry. Robert Horry borderline iconic for the shots he's known for making big shots. I'm not even going to use the C word, Anthony Carter. I'm not even going to use the C word, but he's iconic.
Not going to use clutch?
No. We almost went the whole show without saying the word clutch. But he's not an icon. But if you're known, you're specifically known in your sports for something great, something specific, no record, just an attribute. It's iconic that you do this. You're that. Like, what makes an icon? Like Michael Jordan's an icon.
Yes.
Kobe Bryant, icon. Serena Williams, Wayne Gretzky. Yes. Most of these guys are GOATs in their own right. But I don't think people are saying, like, let me see, who's the argument? Like, I believe Bill Russell is an icon, but he's not a GOAT. He's a GOAT because he has those rings, but he's not in the conversation for whatever reason. But I know you cannot deny he's an icon because he stood for so much. He went through so much, and he got these rings. It's a lot, man. But I think it's a cool debate. Who's the icon? Like NFL, who are the icons? Are there any icons that play right now in the NFL?
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady's an icon.
He's an icon. He's an icon begrudgingly because a lot of people who really know the game knows that he has tons of help. Like I put the stat out there when I did it on
Marino
Sucker Punch. Pro bowlers in his career. Who's done that? Who done that? So he's had a lot of help along the way. So people look at it because he's been the constant thing for championship teams. He's been the quarterback. But he's had a lot of help. I mean, look at his weapons this year. None of those guys made the Pro Bowl this year, but he had 5 Pro Bowl caliber targets to throw the ball to. That's fantastic. So, I mean, I don't know, man. I guess it's the bias on how we look at sports. I like to look at team sports, but I also understand the individuality in the sport. But I can't still say that this guy's the greatest of all time. But Tom Brady's most definitely an icon. He's an icon for a lot of right and wrong reasons, and we'll get to that when we start talking about racism. I think people who believe that white men should be on top, they praise Tom Brady for the fact that he always finds his way on top. So that helps push the conversation. They might not openly be racist people, but their mindset when it comes to, I want to see somebody that looks like me at the top. And I'll put it, and I could easily make it, oh, well, he has more rings than anybody else. He's not better than Walter Payton. He's not better than Jerry Rice. He's not better than Deion Sanders. He's not better than Lawrence Taylor as a player. He just so happened to be on the right teams at the right time all the time.
Yeah.
And it makes it seem like he's that consistent person that pushes them over the top.
AC has a great example. Larry Fitzgerald. Is he iconic?
No, he's lovable.
He's
a lovable person.
He's the consummate professional, though. He's the most professional receiver we've seen since, I'm not even going to put him in a category. He's in the category of, he's had 5 drops in his whole career.
Yeah. But he's not iconic, though, because he hasn't done something like makes him like I think Larry Fitzgerald can walk through the mall and nobody would know who he is if you wasn't a real serious football fan.
You can't be an icon if you're not. Then I'm an icon. I can't go nowhere. People know me everywhere I go. So
you are a Long Beach icon.
I'm a great baby because I can't go nowhere. People know me, Miss Mac. People know me. I'm like Mike Jones. Before I was nothing. Now I'm hot. They all up on me. Nah, man. Bill Russell Bill Russell don't get the love he deserves, man. Bill Russell, what if Bill Russell was like a jerk like Wilt and just talk trash and be like, yeah, 50,000 women and 11 rings. Later, I'm still.
I think he would be most definitely an icon, but I still think Russell's an icon because of if you see that Bill Russell, I mean, dude had to deal with like he was the star player on the Celtics team and still had to get racism from people of Boston. Like he got his jersey retired without any fans there because he just couldn't stand the people of Boston. He loved the Celtics organization. He loved what Red Auerbach did for him, but he loathed the fans. He did not like those fans at all. How they would call him out his name. So he's still iconic because of what he had to deal with. Kind of like Ali.
Yeah.
Ali's trials and tribulations were played out more on a national scene. It was put out there more than what Russell's were.
My guy, Dr.
But he's most definitely.
My guy, Dr. Iansa said, I'm not sure if I agree with this, Doc. He said an icon is someone that can perform anywhere, anytime, on any team. I don't know. That can be a role player. Like a good role player can do that. Like if you put
Steve Kerr.
You put Robert Horry, you put Malcolm Brogdon, you put what's light skin's name from Utah Jazz that Kobe got on? Clarkson. You put Jordan Clarkson on anybody's team, he gonna give you 20 points. So I think it's a little bit more than being able to perform. I think maybe LeBron James and James Harden going to another team and making that team relevant might qualify. Is James Harden iconic? He's the best, one of the best scorers of all time. Pound for pound.
From the free throw line, though, he get a lot of points from the free.
He does. He's crafty, and that's one of the words I'm going to discuss during the racism part. Crafty, a word that used to be used for only white players. He's crafty. Yeah. He's crafty. So interesting stuff. We'll see what the homies are talking about. Moton said Brady wouldn't have done that in the 80s. So I know that takes Brady down my GOAT list of all-time GOATs because I don't think he did anything that was so unique that nobody else could have done it.
Yeah.
I think Aaron Rodgers, Dan Marino, and Montana could have done what he's done if they had the same circumstances. Now, could people do what LeBron is doing? No. Could people do what Michael Jordan did? No. Could people do what Bill Russell did? No. Wilt, Shaq, Kareem, all these guys did things that only they could do. Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, only they could do those things. That might be the same factor. Can somebody do what I did? Charles Barkley, nobody could do what he did. Not even Zion doing it. He's trying, but Zion's not Charles Barkley.
He's not. I thought it was a good comparison, but Zion doesn't hit the glass like Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley was a glass eater. He was going to rebound. He's going to rebound your head, too. Zion is too nice for that, man. He has that big old body, but his shooting percentage, my goodness.
85%.
60%.
85%.
60%.
My OG Raheem says, is Deshaun Jackson an icon? He's known
borderline because of antics.
He's known for that punt return for longest, I think, average per catch for a long stretch. I just think his last few years are going to damage his legacy. He was always hurt. He went out with the bad anti-Semitic remarks. Yeah. Is he an icon? He's a great. He's a Long Beach probably great, Cal great, and an
Eagles great.
Eagles great. That might be as far as he goes. And if he plays for one more team, I'm pulling for D-Jack. He might be a Hall of Famer in about 20 years because I know he has a couple of records, but I don't think so. I think Willie McGinnis gets in before Deshaun Jackson as far as Jackrabbits are concerned.
Yeah, I'm surprised Willie ain't in already. Well, that's a surprise to me that Willie's not in already.
Well, he had a bunch of guys around him that were a little bit more highly touted. You had Ty Law and you had the big D lineman. I forgot his name.
Was it Seymour?
Richard Seymour. So Richard Seymour and Ty Law. Ty Law just got in a couple years back. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure how Ty Law got in that quick.
But I always thought once Lawyer Malloy left that Willie was actually the anchor of that defense, like the leader of that defense. Because when Lawyer Malloy was on that team, he was the leader of that team. You can tell that Lawyer Malloy was the leader of that defense. But once he left, I thought McGinnis stepped in and became the leader of that defense.
He was Debo. He was the guy knocking dudes out in the locker room. So he was the leader of the defense, and Tom Brady was the leader of the offense, and they had a good little thing. But he found out he was human when they let him go, and sent him to Cleveland, where you go to die.
Take your shovel with you.
Yeah, they send you to Cleveland. This is a wrap. Everything goes bad. Ms. Mack says most football players aren't noticeable unless you follow them closely. That's why guys try to get their dollars up before it's too late. Do a commercial too. Do a commercial or two.
I'm surprised with man. Mark Carrier was one of my favorite players.
Mark Carrier,
when he
see,
and that's crazy that he's not in the Hall. I can't. I don't. How is he not?
Yeah.
How is he not? That's crazy.
Is Sugar Ray Leonard an icon?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
He was
if you
the 80s. He owned the era of boxing, the 80s.
Yes.
Even if he wasn't the champ, he was still the dude.
He was the dude. He was the Mayweather of his time when it came to box office. Because every time he retired because of the eye, the detached retina.
Yeah.
Then he came back and his fights were still pay-per-view. I mean, he was the guy. And his name is Sugar Ray. If your name is Sugar Ray, you own a candy shop in Harlem. Are you a great boxer?
Sugar Shane tried to use Sugar.
It's Sugar Shane, though. That don't sound right. Sugar Shane.
Sugar Shane was a code name.
Sugar Ray.
Sugar Shane was a code name. He just wasn't Sugar Ray.
Nah, I never was a Sugar Shane fan, man.
Do you know the pressure you put on yourself naming yourself Sugar Ray? After Sugar Ray Robinson did what he did, you gonna call yourself Sugar Ray Leonard? That's putting yourself. I'm gonna be an icon when you start boxing as a Golden Glove boxer. This is our conversation. I'm gonna be an icon. I'm gonna be a GOAT or a champ. I'm gonna be the best that ever wore this name, Sugar Ray Leonard. You're gonna make people remember or forget Sugar Ray Robinson. I'm gonna take that chance and put that name on. That's crazy. Like Todd Gurley putting on 21 in Atlanta. He's taking a chance wearing the GOAT's number. Deion Sanders
took a. Yeah. I'm surprised they retired. Well, I guess because the way Deion left and came back, like he left, he demanded a trade, and then when he came back and he got that pick and he was staring at the sideline, going down the sideline like that, I think they were like, we were gonna retire his number, but since you want to do that, nah, bruh. But they should go ahead, bury that hatchet, put number 21 up in the rafters, man.
Yeah.
Put it in the rafters.
AC's going by stats with, I believe you started talking about Fitzgerald. We know he got stats, but he's such a quiet, humble guy. In today's climate, it's almost bad. Like the Marvin Harrisons and Larry Fitzgeralds and Andre Johnsons of the world who don't say much. You're going to have to say something.
If you're it's the scarlet letter. If you're white and you don't say nothing, you're doing it the right way. When it's a receiver, at the receiver position.
I didn't ask that question, Miss Mack. I was talking about a comment. Somebody put it in the comments. I know he is. Miss Mack, please come on the show so we can get you in this conversation. Oh, man. Sugar Shane was dope, says AC. You first met him at UCLA the press row. Too many titles. Before the titles. Yeah. Hall of Fame icon. Replying to
just wasn't my cup of tea as a boxer. It's not that I don't like the man like that. I'm always be successful, but he just wasn't my guy. I was more of a Mayweather guy. I was more of a Erzlandi Lara guy. God, what's the dude that beat Sugar Shane Mosley, gave him his first loss? But he died. He ended up dying.
Vernon Forrest.
Vernon Forrest. Yes, I was a big Vernon Forrest fan. So guys like that, I really like.
Yeah, he had Sugar Shane's number. And I believe he got killed at the gas station putting air in his tire. Something crazy like that. So now when I put air in my tire, I be looking around, man. Just because we're having to burn it for. For real, I do. All right, man. If you look at your Facebook feed, man, I put a picture up. And it's a pair of 1982 Pro Wings. Now, my boy Keith Willis posted these today and said the kids today don't know the struggle. And I had to laugh, man, because I know I had a pair of Pro Wings. I know you had a pair of Pro Wings.
I had a pair of Pro Wings. My dad My dad had one thing. He said you would never wear bad shoes because your feet is what take you places.
Yeah.
So he always made sure that we had good shoes. He never got us no Pro Wings.
I did not have the luxury of not getting the Pro Wings. I had a pair of Pro Wings and I felt the pain of getting bagged on by the homies trying to play kickball with them Velcro straps. But what came to my mind was how the kids don't know the struggle. And I'm like, he's right. My son has never had a pair of shoes that didn't cost $100. And I look at the shoe rack right now, it's a good $2,000 worth of sneakers on the ground in the garage, just looking like we don't care. But if he complains about his feet hurting, I'm already at the store buying him new shoes. His local school is not where I want him to be. The local park does not have the caliber of athletes that I want him to have. So I drive him across the town to play with certain groups. I even pay for him to play on certain types of clubs. Have I set my son up to be a transfer portal kid? Like, are we damaging our kids by giving them everything they need to be successful? Or was it better that we kind of had a little tough love growing up? You didn't have Pro Wings, but I'm sure Mr. Mack made you earn what you got, even if it wasn't what you actually wanted, whether it be Air Jordans, whether it be to play for the perfect club team or Slam and Jam team or whatever it might be. Have we made our kids' lives too easy? And is that why we have a transfer portal that's full of kids not wanting to work for their jobs?
Well, my dad, what she just recently told me was a lie. My grandmother never said this. It was just something he just wanted. He felt that it would come better if I felt that my grandma said it to me. Cream always rises to the top. So no matter where you're at, he always felt even if you're on the worst team and you're good, people are going to see you rising. They're going to see you doing well. I think what we try to do, and I think our parents would have did it if they were in the same situation as us. Give your kid the best opportunity to succeed. Give your kid what the material that he needs to succeed. Because when we see this in life, like a Donald Trump figure, he was given stuff to succeed. He didn't have to earn too much stuff. He didn't work too hard for stuff. He was given what his parents had. Our parents gave to us what they had. So us as parents, we're giving to our kids what we have, right? Why should I have my son struggle when he doesn't have to? Why should we have them face the struggle if they don't have to? I mean, what lesson are we teaching them, that your parents can be cheapskates even though they can't get it for you? I think if our parents had it, they would have gave it to us. So I think the tough love was just what we had to deal with in the era, or what we had to deal with in our situation. And that's what made us work so hard. So you ever had a wish meat sandwich, AC? You ever had a wish meat?
Wish you had some meat? Yeah.
We get together, wish you had some meat. My kids, I made a point that my kids would never have a wish meat sandwich. Never, ever. My mama came in the kitchen one day. So it can taste better because we ain't got no meat. About to tear this mustard sandwich up real fast. So it seems like we're spoiling our kids, but we reach a certain level so our kids wouldn't struggle. I mean, our whole thing is that we're supposed to improve generation. We're supposed to raise the standard every generation. I mean, our kids have a different struggle than what we have. Like my son's struggle. He's trying to learn to be great at video games because he doesn't know how to cheat at video games like I learned how to cheat when I was his age. So he struggles with it. But I knew how to cheat. I could watch your fingers move in Tecmo Bowl. I can pick your play. So I can be those type of things. So he has a different struggle than what my struggle is. And I wouldn't want my son or my daughter to ever have a struggle that I went through. So I don't think that we're spoiling our kids and creating transfer portal kids. What we're creating are kids that aren't going to take the BS, that understands their worth and their value. And it's like, you know what, I'm going to move on to greener pastures because I know my worth and value. I'm not going to sit here behind somebody else that I probably think I'm better than, or even if they're better than me and we're in the same grade, I'm never going to get some shine. I need to go somewhere to shine. And that's what we're teaching our kids. We're teaching them to shine.
Yeah.
Not for, hey, if it ain't my time, it ain't my time. No, go make it your time, even if you have to go somewhere else.
I think we might want to jump ahead to the racism conversation because this ties right into it. This is exactly what we're talking about as far as jumping right into the idea is that sports is supposed to be the great equalizer. However, we're fed this idea that a lot of our kids' way out of their situation is sports. But is
Yes.
that fair? Is it borderline racist to believe that? And if the playing field can be leveled by sports, and it's only a 1 to 2% chance that you make it to the pros, what is that? It's a systemic dead end for a lot of our youth. So how has sports, in your opinion, helped to erase or end or solve racism, or how has it helped make it worse and perpetuate racism that exists in this country? Something that we saw this last couple years rear its ugly head. Like, where is sports in this whole dichotomy of our country as far as race is concerned?
Well, as far as race is concerned, I think sports has helped us understand racism a little bit better. You know, we're told usually to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. The best athletic skills. We probably have more people who have tasted economic success athletically than we have had as doctors and lawyers. And she could just be saying something, because I'm quite sure we have a lot of black doctors and lawyers out there, but they don't get the respect and they don't get the love that comes with being a professional athlete. And I think even when we got to college, we seen racism at certain points in what that we were doing. Like if you're competing with a player that's white, say for instance, they're going to get love for being hardworking. They're going to get love for doing their best all the time. But just working hard and doing your best wasn't good enough for the black players. You have to be absolutely exceptional in order to always be able to see the field. Like I remember, and big props to our guy, Brent Brennan, who's up at San Jose State doing a good job, just won a National Coach of the Year award for what he did at State. But I remember when they shipped you over to defense, and I was just like, Brent is not better than AC. Hell, I'm not better than AC. So I'm thinking in my mind, shoot, I'm about to get shipped over too. Like everybody that's not better than AC, we all about to be playing defense. They actually got different plans. They actually got different plans for everybody else. But what they would say about Brent Brennan is that he worked hard, that he was cerebral. He understood what the defense was doing and stuff like that. And I'm like, AC can do the same thing. I can do the same thing. Getting praise for that. So what I think sports have done is shown us the levels of rhetoric that comes with racism. It helps us understand it a little bit better, because we can get a guy like AB, right? Antonio Brown is an exceptionally talented athlete. Yes, he's going to make waves, you know, that comes with it. But if that was regular life, would AB even be there? AB's only there because he's economically, he has economic worth tied to his name. Like what AB did, a lesser player would have been on the bench, or wouldn't even be no more. Not even say on the bench, wouldn't even be in the NFL no more, because he has economic value to him. Slavery anymore, as they are buying us, but their mentality of it is, if you can make me money, I can tolerate everything that comes with the baggage, if I feel that you have economics attached to it. Like when Randy Moss hit the cop and he had to pay the fine, and the reporter asked him, how did you pay the fine? He said, straight cash on. I mean, that's
iconic.
That's iconic. That's what's expected, but that's the expectations. That, see, when we give them some money, it's like the Uncle Ruckus syndrome, kind of. If we give them some money, they're gonna show us the true colors are. But what thing is that they're allowing and perpetuating certain things that happen with black players that they can tolerate. They can tolerate AB, but they can't tolerate Colin Kaepernick for taking a knee and fighting for the righteous. So what we have seen is that it doesn't help, it doesn't hurt, it just shows us a clearer picture of what racism looks like in our society. At least we can say that with the NFL. With the NBA, it's a little bit different, because there's never going to be an NBA for now without having a majority of black players. Yeah. You know, you can get a player like Jordan Clarkson, as we were talking about earlier. Jordan Clarkson ain't a star, but he'll get you 20. You know what I'm saying? Jordan Clarkson would never make an all-star team, or never probably make an all-NBA team. But on any given night, he can kill you. He can kill your team. There's not too many white NBA players that can do that. unless your name is Luca, are you the unicorn or something like that. But football for sure has shown us what this life is about. It perpetuates racism because you have the white owners at the top. There's only like one minority owner. I think he's the guy from the Jaguars. He's like Middle Eastern or something like that.
Yep.
Other than that, man, the way they act, how they doing Dak Prescott is hella racist to me. Dak Prescott showed he can play. Carson Wentz, our guy Carson Wentz, gets $100 million contract that we're gonna have to eat some of that up. But Dak never got it. I think Dak has performed better than Wentz in that, and people will just always tie that down to, well, it's different organizations, no. And they talk. They know what's up.
Yeah.
Play. Wentz is already on another team and will be the projected starter.
Yeah.
He didn't play as bad. He didn't play as good as what's the kid for the Washington football team?
The one that left.
What's the kid?
You mean the one that left for the Vikings? You mean
no, the one that they got rid of right before the last game of the season.
Oh, the brother?
Haskins, yeah.
Yeah.
Haskins is lucky that he got picked up by the black coach with the Steelers. Other than that, Haskins probably would have been out the league.
That was a brother move. I mean, that was a brother move right there.
Yeah.
So
that was a brother move.
It's I'm a film guy. I studied film at UCLA. I worked in television, and they help the media's narrative of how sports are the great equalizer. But if you watch enough movies and you see the white hero narrative being played out in many scripts, be it Jerry Maguire, Blind Side, Hardball, Rocky, all these different movies where the mild-mannered white guy saves these underprivileged black kids and they become champions. It's just continuing the conversation that black kids' only way out is entertainment or sports. And it's systemic, it's mild, it's subtle. But if you look at it, even remember the Titans. The only way that they was going to stop this racist town from burning this man's house down was to win the championship. What if Coach Boone didn't win the championship? His family would be dead. It's like racism was still going to exist in that town if football was there or not. And then when they weren't good, once he left, they probably went right back to being racist. So it's like it's the great Band-Aid. It's like the great cover-up. As racist as those fans are in LSU, when they win, those brothers walk through town. Hey, great job, great game. When they're losing, they all kind of N-words and jigaboos and get out this town. I'm not sure if you remember that one broadcaster. I obviously did some sideline reporting and some broadcasting. And there were certain words we attribute to white players, and there are certain words you attribute to black players. But listen to this clip, man. I got this clip from this broadcaster from a few years back. He passed away, but his words are echoing forever. It's iconic words.
Girls from Rutgers, man, they got tattoos and
some hardcore hoes.
That's some nappy-headed hoes there. I'm gonna tell you that now. Man, that's some. Ooh. And the girls from Tennessee, they all look cute, you know. So, like kind of like I don't know,
Spike Lee thing.
Yeah.
The Jigaboos versus the Wannabes. Yeah, that movie that he had.
Yeah, it was a tough.
Do the right thing.
I don't know if I'd have wanted to beat Rutgers or not, but they did, right? On Friday, I apologized for some remarks that I made and others made, but particularly ones that I made on this program to the women's basketball team at Rutgers University. And it was a straightforward apology that Charles and I wrote. And
my man said, apology he wrote. He said, apology he wrote. These are some straight jigaboos. He said, these girls, I mean, the things he said, now to flip the script, if we had said some stuff like that as a broadcaster, you'd be fired that day. I'm not sure how long it took before him to lose his job, or even if he lost his job at all. But I know
he lost, but he got another platform. Another station picked him up. I remember that guy. I remember I had to teach about that in my my history class when after that happened. There's a lot of backstories to that. You had Pat Summitt, the golden girl of NCAA women's basketball, bringing vaunted Tennessee Volunteers with who else? Candace Parker was on that team. You had the Rutgers team with a black woman's head coach who didn't dress like a coach. She came out there. She had on her like she had on her gowns and stuff. She was extravagant in what she did. And her Rutgers team was underdogs. She was the Don Chaney, the John Thompson of women's college basketball. She took the rough girls. She took the girls that didn't qualify. She brought those girls into Rutgers and built that program. But people didn't understand she was at another school before that she was doing the same thing, and they booted her out of there because they were like, we don't want those type of girls. We want more girly girls on our team. And that Rutgers team was like a 10 seed and got all the way to the championship game, and they lost to Tennessee. So, I mean, that guy brought that to the forefront, and it just goes to show you the sexism in women's sports too. Like, I mean, we all love what's our girl? What's your number one? Fabulous WNBA player.
Oh, Sky Diggs.
Sky Diggs. We love her. We love Sky Diggs, man.
But she's good too. She's good.
She's good.
It'd be different if she was terrible. Like, she only there because she's cute.
Yeah, Sky Diggs had the same fate as that Rutgers team, though. She lost, 2 or 3 national title games.
Right.
That Rutgers team lost a national title game, but those girls are not iconic. Sky Diggs is iconic. Sky Diggs, we were talking about icon. Sky Diggs had Lil Wayne wear her jersey in his concert. He's performing on stage with her jersey on. So, I mean,
he's shooting.
It's racist to a point, but it's also sexist. It goes to show you how that man, he wasn't looking at that game as these are elite athletes playing for a championship game. It was who was cute, who was ugly.
Yeah, it was crazy. Ryan Smith said Jimmy the Greek said the whole thing when Jimmy the Greek said they need some black players. Basically, black players can run and jump fast. And he was, but was he lying? Like, you know, it's just like Bear was it Bear Bryant that brought Bam Watts, was it Bam from USC? Bam Cunningham into the locker room, said, "Look at this man. This is a football player, and we're going to start recruiting a black athlete. I'm tired of getting our head beat in by these great athletes." So I know I'm crashing pretty good on my camera's a little bit slow. But yeah, man, it's crazy. And then I was reading up on how sports in college is being used by white America as a form of affirmative action, because there are only 3 sports that we dominate in college. We're football, basketball, and track.
Yep.
But the other 36 sports are guess who? And those are spots that the school allows for those students to come to school. So we have a very small pool. And then you have certain schools like Brown University who try to let go of track and field and cancel the program. And at Brown University, they have more black athletes on that one sport than they have in any other sport on campus. And they cut the program. And of course, somebody wrote an article. Somebody tweeted that it was racist that they did that, and they reinstated the program. But they try to catch them in the act. Like, look at y'all just did. You just cut your entire black population off campus for crew, for fencing. You know, so it's a lot of little subtle things that are happening within sports that perpetuate, in my estimation, that aren't helping the struggle. Is that, like I said, I think last week on my show, that my son is now wanting to end racism tomorrow because we saw Judas in the Black Messiah, and he's like, if we can get rid of all the racism, then we won't have to worry about this kind of stuff. I said, son, if you have the solution, please write a book. You can get paid, because it's gonna be harder than you think, man. Let's see what the homie's talking about. Chris Motan said, look at Tommy Tumerville, made his paper off the black players and turned his back on them when he got into politics. Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, man, when there's no sports, are our kids going to play together? Like time and kill.
Yeah.
We ain't friends, Jake.
Yep.
We're functional. Jimmy said that we were bred to have thighs that extend to our buttocks. Dang. Jimmy the Greek, bruh. It's cold. That's cold, man. But football and hoops fund all the rest of those programs. So, yeah. Who funds this school? The black athlete. So we should try to start vocalizing the steps to try to put to level the playing field. I think one step could be to make sure kids graduate.
But what people don't understand is that racism is what caused black athletes to be who they are. In slavery times, and this is just through our genetics, they were forcing the biggest, strongest slaves to mate. Like, you don't have to love her. Go in there and make me some other big, super strong slaves. So you have a bunch of shacks walking around the plantation. That's what they wanted. So now we free and we able to keep breeding and breeding and breeding. We gonna get the LeBron James just through the gene pool. We gonna get the Serena Williams through the gene pool. What was that? Wasn't that somebody said they offer LeBron and Serena $1 million to create a baby?
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? These are the type of things that they think about. This is what they do. I mean, think about it. Even when we were in college, I mean, I was sizing up a couple of volleyball girls. Like, whoa, boy, I'm gonna get me a super athlete. Where these volleyball girls at? Man, I'm gonna get me. But they were way taller than me when they put their heels on. So I was like, nah, I ain't do that.
You put LeBron James and Serena together, he might mess around and get Magic Johnson's son. He don't want to play no ball. He wanna dress like a woman. He don't know what to do with all that athletic ability. This is too much for one man to hold. I can't do nothing with all this. It's too much skill. I can't do it. I can't do nothing with it. I want to dress like a woman, man. Oh, man.
LeBron had a kid. That kid would deliver itself. It'd just be like, you know what? I'm ready to come out. Let's go. Let's do this.
He come out.
Break this cord off. Let's just get
the black Yao Ming.
Up
the black Yao Ming. Yeah, the Yao Ming was hot. Right. Yao Ming was speed. Usain Bolt and Serena Williams have a baby. Lee, that'd be a monster. You don't want that to happen, man. So I believe sports can bring people together. However,
yes, it can.
It can be the first step. But the racism is so deep and intertwined in our fabric of our country and our beliefs and the storylines of our country. It's way beyond sports. Because sports can make us all happy, but as soon as the OJ verdict came down, our happy kumbaya team at UCLA became divided like the Red Sea.
Yes, it did. I remember that. You know what's funny? I remember when they did the verdict, man. Remember how still that campus was? There was nobody walking around that campus, man. Everybody was in front of a TV. I was in Ackerman Union, and it was me and a couple of players and some other black students, man. When they said not guilty, man, you would have thought Tyus Edney hit the game-winning shot again, man. You thought Tyus Edney went up and scored again to get us to the Sweet 16, man. We jumped, and you could just see the dejection on the white people's faces in there, and it was just like, man, because to me, it was about years and years of seeing my dad get harassed by the police, to know that there are black people who are sitting in jail who didn't do absolutely nothing that was set up. His trial and him being free, whether he was guilty or not, the fact that he got off proved that the system can work for us. The system can work for us. So that's what we were really celebrating about. They seen it as, and I think white America seen it as, man, those black people happy that this black man killed this white woman. Man, believe me, we don't want nobody to die. We don't want nobody to perish. Well, all we want is equal opportunity and an equal chance at a good life. That's all we want.
Yeah. And I says, sorry that these two folks had to be sacrificed for that to happen. And not to say one life for another life, but how many lives of our people have been, extinguished, assassinated, and murdered in broad daylight, and we still don't get justice. I mean, we're seeing it today, 2021. There's still no arrest for the murderers of Breonna Taylor. Like, golly, is this payback for, the OJ case? Like, what is going on? Like, it's hard to even fathom that we're still here. Black History Month 2021, and we still don't have equality in this country. It's mind-boggling. But 75 million people, like you said on your podcast, are Trump supporters. So there you go. It's still alive and well. And those guys are football fans. Roll Tide, go Tigers, go Bruins,
War Eagle.
go Trojans.
Eagle.
So it's right in your face, man. And I
fight, all that stuff.
gotta call it up.
The West Coast on me, you don't have to experience. I mean, I remember having a student tell me one day when she realized who I was. Before she realized who I was, she was super cool with me. And this is my freshman year, and we were in Soc 1, and the professor decided to use me as a prop. He told me I reminded him of Daryl Henley, and he was talking about that. And the girl sitting next to me, who's a nice white girl, until she found out who I was, and then she looked at me crazy like, "Oh, you're one of those football player guys. Oh, you're the one of the reason why my friend couldn't get into UCLA, because you got his spot because you can play football." And I'm like, wow. Man, I wanted to just be like, can't get to school unless I qualified. I was UC eligible. They don't recruit dudes that can't get into the school. You have to be able to get into the school and play football. I had it double hard, but I couldn't her that because I just wanted to go find. Remember Charlene and Darlene? I wanted to go find them and be like, "Hey, can y'all whoop this white girl for me? Man. Can y'all be there for me?" Like she trying to mess up my thing around here. You know what I'm saying? So,
that's kind of why we got the backlash when President Obama was in office. You guys are taking over our spots. You're taking over our country. So we're gonna hire the most ignorant person we could find, Donald Trump. That'll get us right. That'll put us back on top. He's one of us. He's one of us. Moton says every black person on campus is assumed to be on the team. Sad truth. And most of the time, it's true. if UCLA is 4% African American, 3% of them are African American athletes. 1% is in the ASU, African Student Union, and they might be real Africans. Like, not even from there. I went to school with plenty of African dudes that wouldn't get in my study group calling me a lazy American. Talking about get your own notes. I'm like, we black. He's like, no, we are not the same.
Oh, don't worry. A couple of our teammates and a couple of Africans found out the hard way that, hey, Jimmy Magno is history. We have to do the slave trade between Sierra Leone and North Carolina. We had a big study group with all the black people was in there. And I was like, hey, man, this is what y'all should be studying. They were like, no, we're going to study this. I was like, all right. Y'all study this, see what I got. They started asking about grades A+. I told y'all what to study.
And we had them good study hall groups. We had the professor at Sunset Village come by and give us a little heads up what's going to be on the final. And all we had to do was study. But they thought we was doing something dirty. And they were like, no, we are okay. We don't want your help. You lazy Americans. I'm like, all right. Let me borrow your notes. No, you lazy. So, yeah, man. All right. So, keep these folks accountable. Don't let them buddy up because you don't help them win a game. Keep your eye on these folks. They'll love you today and vote you off the island tomorrow. Soon as you get ready to go to the confessional booth and you got to vote somebody off, guess who they voting off the island? The black dude. Every time. Who's in here? Anthony Carter says, why is it so important? This is why it was so important for me to write for the Daily Bruin. I needed to have a black person in the media covering the teams and giving you guys a voice. I needed to help give the women athletes a voice. And we appreciate you, man. I had Anthony Carter with the Bruin. We also had Art Thompson writing for the Orange County Register. So he wrote pieces about us from our point of view and not messing our words up and flexing us out of context.
But you also got to remember, Art worked with your GOAT, Ali.
Yeah.
You know, Art worked with him, man. So, you know, Art knew the deal, man.
Oh, yeah.
I remember sometimes Art would approach me with something, and I loved Art, but I was like, man, I'm fighting for my job. I want to say something, but
you really
fighting for my job.
You really can't.
I can't say
Donahue, and you ain't playing ever again.
Fighting for my job, man. But man, I love Art, man. Art's a good man. Good man.
BT said the best study hall program on planet Earth in Sunset Commons. Man.
Yep.
What was the little African dude's name that used to organize it? What was it?
Oh man, what is?
Was it Ferret?
Oh,
What was his name? He was a little slimy dude too. He was a little slimy dude.
Farside? Was it Farside?
Something like.
Or was it for something else?
Yeah.
Oh man, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, we had a nice little setup. We actually had a real professor come sometime. Man, that's crazy. That's like hearing the word from the author himself. All right, man. So we got a couple more. Real quick, man. Our queen fell to the princess. Naomi Osaka put things on Serena. What did you see? And is this the end for the queen?
First off, let me give mad props to Osaka. I mean, I was mad that she was going to be replacing Serena soon, so I get it. But remember
Tom
a couple
Rat,
years ago when she
Tom Rat, that's his name.
Yeah, Tom Rat, yeah.
Tom Rat.
She when she beat Coco Gauff, remember when Coco Gauff went on that big run and she beat her and she invited Coco Gauff to come out on the court with her and talk to the crowd because she felt that Coco Gauff needed to have that time to express herself and stuff like that. And Coco Gauff was crying and stuff, and she said the reason why she did it because she see how much hard work she put into it. So I know Naomi Osaka, like I said, she carries the burdens of two races, Japanese and African American. Carrying the African American burden is going to always be a thing, but to be a great Japanese tennis player has to be something that's really big.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Because we haven't had a dominant Japanese tennis player, I don't think ever. And she's that one. So she's carrying a whole nation on her back. But I don't think Serena should let it go, man. I mean, she made it to the semis. She's 39 years old, and in one of the toughest skill sports that has to use athleticism in it as well. So you got to have skill and athleticism in order to play this sport. She's making it at 39 to the semifinals. I mean, she probably may never win another major, but she certainly ain't hurting her legacy. She's going up against younger, stronger women. Like Osaka hits as hard as her, moves as well as her when Serena was young. Now Serena's old. So I think Serena should let it go when your heart isn't in it anymore. And I'm one of those people, I know that. After I got cut from the Bears, my heart wasn't in it anymore. Yeah, I continued on to go play in Berlin, and I ended up on a training camp with San Francisco, but my heart wasn't in it no more. And after Chicago, I should have just said, you know what, I'm done. But the competitor in me wanted to keep going. So if your heart isn't in it, or when your body can't take it anymore, like Shannon Sharp always says, I wanted to keep playing, but my body couldn't do it anymore. So I stopped. My body wasn't healing the way it used to when I was younger. I couldn't get out the bed. I could barely make it from game to game. So I decided to stop. So when it's two things, if your heart isn't in it anymore, or when your body can't handle it anymore, then it's time to walk away. But I think Serena still has that passion. I think with her is, I will never meet the top of the mountain again because these young girls are just too much for me. To go through all these rounds, even when I make it to the finals, I'm exhausted, or I can't hit as hard because I'm older. But she's still one of the top. She's ranked 10th. She's 39 years old and she's 10th in the world, or she was even 10th seeded in this tournament. That's absolutely amazing for a 39-year-old.
But is that enough to keep her going when she knows that she would need someone to knock off Osaka? Because she can still beat the weaker, ranked girls because they don't have the same power. And I saw her look at a few balls go down the line, and she just knew she couldn't get there because she's not as fast as she once was. But I know she still has the ball placement and the tenacity. When she was down 4-1, she came back to 4-3. I know she still has the fire to put some balls in play and be competitive, but she looked like she was overmatched by a younger, stronger version of herself. I think she can win another one. It'll take some fortune. It might take Naomi Osaka not to play that tournament or get beat in that tournament, and Serena meets the perfect match where someone she can beat. So I think it's not out of the question, like Tiger Woods winning another Masters. It's not out of the question that he won 2019, and nobody thought he could. So he, and golf is not as skilled as tennis in my opinion. It's difficult. It's just not as athletic as tennis, because tennis, them knees, that back, them shoulders, everything. If it ain't on point, you ain't hitting them. You ain't getting the ace off. And if you got to do lob serves, you're gonna lose points. Serena and Naomi have ace serves, and if they're not hitting, you're not going to get as many points as you normally get. So I know in the perfect storm, if she, gets tip-top shape, best she's felt in a while, get Tom Brady's trainer, Alex Guerrero, to help her get to, old woman optimal performance level, and she can win one more. I'm hoping she can. I'm like Miss Mac, it's not the end if you play at this level. But I know she does not want to be in semis. She does not want to be in finals. She wants to be playing for the championship. She's a champion, man. Yeah. She's not no pony horse that can come out and just be there for the fans and sell tickets. She wants to win the thing. That's why I saw in that press conference. I didn't take it as a sore loser. I think Lonnie Graham posted, is she a sore loser? No, she's an ultimate competitor, and she doesn't like this feeling that she can't overpower and outlast or outswing these young girls. It's making her frustrated. I feel it. I know how she feels. I feel bad when I can't jump 40 inches off the ground like I used to. I can't run a 4.40 like I used to. And getting old sucks. I don't even know the breadth and depth of her frustration as the GOAT, like one of the best athletes of all time, and she can no longer win. I have no idea how that feels. So I know that she's at a place in her life where she has to make those decisions. When she touched her heart and waved, I felt something there that she's kind of like getting to that point where ain't any more. I might try on these slow surfaces and win at Wimbledon's on grass. I want to say the French Open's on grass. I can't remember, but the clay.
Wimbledon's on grass. French is on clay.
The clay game, she ain't gonna win, but she has a chance on grass. The ball's not gonna be as fast. So, it's not over. Circumstances permit. She can win another one, and she probably can play till she's 42 if she wants to. But does she want to play if she's not in contention to win a championship? So at that point, like you said, if it's no longer there, she should hang them up. And her legacy is set in stone. She don't have to win 24. 25 is a great number, but 23 is also a great number. And how many does Martina Navratilova have?
I think she has one more than she does. I think that's who she's trying to catch, right?
I thought she already passed her. I thought she didn't pass her. I thought she was like after she passed.
She's not behind Navratilova. She's behind Mary something. Some lady Mary something. That's who she's behind. But yeah, I think she passed Navratilova already.
Just somebody.
But to me, the only thing that's missing out of Serena's legacy is having that great rival. Because remember, Chris Everett and Navratilova had that great rivalry.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Steffi Graf. That's who it is. AC partner.
Steffi Graf has more than 24.
Is it Stacey has the most?
24? Didn't Steffi Graf?
How
many she got?
Now,
today Serena Williams passes Martina Navratilova with 307th slam win in 2016.
Well, no, we're talking about championships, honey, not wins.
Grand Slam. Grand Slam.
Yeah. She would have to be was Monica Seles. As Rodney Saucer was just Monica Seles. I think if she never got stabbed, would have been the person that would have did it because she was very dominant too.
Yeah.
So
I would debate that she did have a rival in her sister because Venus was number one before Serena took over. And
yes.
She was that much more better and more dominant than Venus. And then who was the other one? Davenport? Wasn't Davenport a rival? She destroyed.
See, Davenport was more Monica Hingis was more of the adversary for both of the Williams sisters than it was Davenport. Davenport, they knew if they got her moving around and make her play the back line instead of playing a good skill game, they can eventually wear her down. It was Monica Hingis that was I would say their biggest adversary, but they surpassed her so fast.
Yeah.
And they surpassed her with so much dominance that she kind of fell off a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think she even needs it. I think she's surpassed all of them in the longevity and dominance, like being the best in tennis for so long. I think that's kind of where we stand with like any other of the all-time greats. Were you the best in your sport for a long period of time? And she's been the best for a long time. And she's gone through some pretty good, groups of girls that I should say women, and continue to be, with the baby in the bun and still
Still won one.
Still
Yep.
won. So I think that's saying a whole lot. So I hope she can continue and play at a high level, but to her, satisfaction, not to ours. Because I think that sometimes when some people go too far and play too long, like Tom Brady, how long does he play? How long does Floyd fight? Boxing is one thing. I hate to see an old boxer fight.
Yeah.
But tennis is so skilled. I think she can still be graceful and make good shots and not hurt herself. And then Tom Brady, if he can continue to have the best line of football, he can still play until he's 45. But if he start getting hit, if Tom Brady got sacked 12 times, it's a wrap. How many times?
But you know what though? Tom Brady sacks be like weak sacks. Like they barely try to hit him. They don't be trying to hit Tom Brady like they be trying to hit Cam Newton.
They pull his flag. They pull his flag and he go down.
He goes down pretty easy too, so it's not like he's trying to fight either.
Yeah. Anna Kournikova, wasn't she the pretty one? Like the European pretty girl?
Play?
It was terrible though, right? She couldn't win.
Awful.
She was awful.
I think she made one final and got destroyed. Like, yeah.
I was like, nah, she ain't got it. She need to go pose for some draws or something. Yeah. All right, man. Let's finish up with some what if. What if?
Here we go.
All right, man. So the graphic I sent you is my first one. What if? Now you said it once before how much it would take, but what if student athletes in college got paid upon graduation? What if $100,000 was waiting for every student athlete that graduates? What would that make the college football landscape, college basketball landscape, college baseball landscape? What would that make that look like?
Man, $100K is a lot. I know these colleges, the NCAA has made a lot of money off these college athletes, but to me, it would most definitely raise up graduation rates for the guys who know that I'm not gonna make it to the NFL. I can start off my life with $100,000. You know, I don't think until I hit my 30s that I ever spent a combined $100,000 in my life. So to finish upon graduation, getting $100,000, man, that's a good life starter right there, especially for the guys that's not going to make it to the NFL. You know, remember our league minimum when we were in there together was what, 175?
Yeah.
So you get your college degree, and for all the hard work you've done and representing the university and, you know, bringing in his revenue, $100,000 is, I think is cool. But you know, I lowball the price because I know how these people work. They're not trying to give out $100,000 per graduation, and I think they would really make the requirements hard to graduate too for student athletes. So I think that they would do their best to hinder student athletes from collecting that $100,000.
That's just
these colleges are a business.
That's dirty, man. That goes back to the systemic racism we're talking about.
I mean, cause look what they did at North Carolina, dude. They falsified transcripts and let these dudes graduate and destroyed their African American history department. Why would you do that to your African American history department? So you had all these athletes studying African American history, getting these bad degrees that wasn't going to help them to get nowhere because you were making sure that was going to be the premise of it. That we're going to get something out of it, and if you don't make it to the NFL, you're not going to get nothing out of it. They wasn't pushing these guys towards communications or towards poli-sci. They had to hook up and I'm quite sure those African American history teachers were happy just to have athletes in their classes. But I don't think they knew that they were getting scammed and shammed at the same time. So I think that's what it would be, man. You will have so many investigations because they're not going to want to part ways with that money. They don't want to give the workers their just due. They're like, this degree is going to be enough to get you somewhere.
Yeah, that's
not it.
That's peanuts, though, man. You imagine how many guys graduate each year. What's the senior class number of guys who don't end up dropping out in every sport? It would not be a fraction of what the school brings in if we make it to a bowl game. So there have to be a lot of incentives involved, but I just know that a lot of guys would stay in school. A lot of guys would work a little bit harder to graduate if there was some money to be had. It's like a trust fund. If I graduate, like most white kids I know, when they turn 18, they get a chunk of money from somebody's, some relative that says when you turn 18 and get married, there's $1 million waiting for you. Well, all I gotta do is turn 18. It's all good. Get married. I'll find somebody to marry. So I know it would be a game changer, like Rodney Saucier said. It's a game changer, man. Game changer. All right, so what you got?
Or this is what they'll do, AC. This is another thing they'll do. Maybe we'll stop recruiting so many black players and get a bunch of white players to hand this 100K to.
Wow.
You know, I'm not saying that that's how that would be the thinking, but it might be somebody somewhere thinking. You know, I'm quite sure at the University of Alabama, they won't do it because they already given their players $100,000 without graduating.
You ain't got to. You can come here and be one and done in football. Come on down.
You pass.
Come on.
Let's go. We gonna give you $100,000.
Well,
but I don't know, man. It would be great. It most definitely would have made me, because I was on pace to graduate in 3.5 years. But then I was like, what's the rush? You know what I'm saying? What's the rush? You know, I'll be spending my last year and a half of scholarship doing what? I didn't think about going to grad school. I was more worried about going to the NFL. So what did I do? I just said, you know what? I'll take some class. I'll drop some classes. I'm not ready. I mean, I wish I had a time machine and tell younger me, hey, man, get this, and then either get a second degree or go to grad school on UCLA's dime. You know, so it's just really crazy. I think a lot of people, if you had $100K, it would most definitely have parents being very overbearing to put those kids D1. Hey, I need you to go D1. I think we will have some more Todd Marinoviches than we'll have a system of hey man, this is gonna make you off a better life. You have a little nest egg if you go get your degree, even if you don't go to the NFL. I think we'll have more Todd Marinoviches where kids will have too much pressure on them, and then they'll just lash out once they get away from the parents in that situation.
Yeah, I think it would be a game changer and be interesting. All right, what you got, man?
All right, my what if. All right, so what if they allow universities around the world to be a part of certain NCAA sports? For instance, we take some of those, some of those colleges that in Europe or in Brazil, you know they're gonna have some good soccer players, and you let them compete in the NCAA, or have Jamaicans, instead of the Jamaicans coming to college here, they stay in college in Jamaica, but they can compete in NCAA sports. What do you think would happen with NCAA sports?
In the sports that they dominate, they would just dominate. It'd be just like the Blue Bloods in basketball back in the early 50s, 60s, and 70s, where you have just dominant schools because they have the athletes or recruit the athletes to make sure they're on top. Where you figure the Brazilian soccer team, the Italian soccer team, the German soccer team, they're going to be number 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5 in the country or in the world every year because that's what they do. Just the same as Jamaican track or Russian track. They're going to have the top program in the country because they are focused on it. Chinese gymnastics or diving, whatever they're good at, whatever they excel at in the Olympics, we'll see it more often, not just every 4 years. Now, they won't be able to touch us in the main sports like basketball, football, and baseball. Well, baseball, the Dominican Republic would dominate. Japan would probably dominate. But those are the sports that they excel in. So I think we would see just more high-powered programs in the programs that country is known for. And they probably wouldn't furnish a team in a sport they can't play. So you won't see a Jamaican bobsled team playing against Minnesota in bobsledding or whatever. But it ain't going to be no cool runnings. It's going to be specific to what you are good at. So I think it would be interesting to have a worldwide, NCAA, so to speak. But I think it would be really limited to what that country is known for. And a lot of those countries is soccer or football, international football. Every other sport, we pretty much dominate still.
All right. So second part. Do you think that the European or the international athletes would get the same flack that African American athletes get when they start doing like how UCLA is doing in gymnastics, where they have all these minority young women setting the bar up high on the floor exercise or getting all these perfect 10s? Do you think that the NCAA as a whole would flip out. Like some of these schools will flip out on those athletes. Start like they're cheating, they're doing this, they're doing that. You think they will flip out?
I think we saw something like that in France when they have all the Africans that have migrated to France and their soccer team has become this black team. And then people from different countries are saying they're not Frenchmen. They're imports. Yeah, so they got all this speed, but all these brothers that have been there for two generations. So they were born there. They're actually Frenchmen, and they speak the language, and they're actually citizens. So I think people will have something to say no matter what happens. If you're dominating and you're killing it, people are going to have something to say no matter what, even if you're clean. So yes, they will definitely feel the same. Because what happens in the Olympics? When every time we see a different country excel in a sport, we immediately begin to think, what's going on? You know,
Bahrain.
Yeah, so if you ain't doing it big, then you probably won't have any haters. But if you're balling and you always smashing, somebody got something to say about everything you do. So it'll come with the territory, no matter where you're from in the world. Somebody got something to say about people today still don't believe Usain Bolt's clean.
Yeah.
They always got something to say. You can't run that fast. That's all. He must be on something. And he says it's in the yams, man. It's in the yams. Yeah. So it'd be interesting, man. Worldwide. Number 1 in the world, Craig. In the world. Number 2 for me. Last one for me. Where'd I go? All right, here we go. What if HBCUs had the same resources as PWIs? I mean, TV contracts, facilities, coaching staffs, prestige, graduation rates, prestige and degree. If everything was level, say the MEAC was on the level of the Pac-12, what will we see? What will we have in this country? Miss Mack was quick on her answer, boy. Said they would dominate.
I'm gonna agree with my wife, because you gotta think about this, right? Most of these black athletes, they come from traditions at their high schools that kind of replicate HBCUs. If you went to Washington Prep in the 90s, you couldn't tell the difference between Washington Prep and Howard University. Our band was tight. We had 50,000 cheerleaders. We had a halftime show. They put on a show. It wasn't we gonna play some instruments. They put on a show. You're gonna recruit me to where I came from, basically. Okay, I imagine Southern or Grambling coming to Long Beach Poly and saying, "Hey, man, come check out these facilities, man." And then they walk you by the dancing girls practicing, like in drumline. Remember when Nick Cannon went to go get a water break? Saw the girls dancing. Man, you be like, "Nah, I'm here. I'm here, baby. I'm here. I'm coming," because that's what we are used to. I mean, think about what we had the change in lifestyle. Well, you were around. You had white students at Long Beach Poly, so you had dealt with that. I never been around a white student before, so
a white.
It was a culture shock. Like they read like me. They write. They don't write. They don't have special powers and telepathy to learn this stuff. They learn just like me. So it took some getting used to. But you're gonna send me out of the hood to a place that, one thing about HBCUs, they're nurturing. They're caring. It's more than just about sports. It's about building men and women to go out there into the world. We're not trying to take all the resources. We're trying to give you resources and equip you to go back out there. I think HBCUs would totally dominate. Instead of having the Lawrence Taylors going to North Carolina, he'd have been at A&T. Instead of having, Deshaun Jackson at Cal. Deshaun Jackson's now at Southern Grambling, somewhere else playing Classic. The Bayou Classic would be crazy if they had all the best athletes playing in that game. Instead of, it's already crazy now. So just imagine you have Maurice Drew, Reggie Bush, all these dudes in that game now. It would be absolutely crazy, man.
Miss Mack says you would be the father of 3 kids by 3 different women if you went to Southern back in the day. It would not have been.
Man, I can really handle the black girls on UCLA campus. Imagine me at a campus full of black girls.
You'd been like,
man,
you'd have been like Mike Tyson at a black beauty pageant. Not saying you'd be running up and stuff, but you'd be like, wow, looky. I'm the
It would be crazy.
They like, hey champ. He like, what's going on, ladies?
Oh man, I wouldn't be able to handle HBCU, man. I'd have lost my mind.
You'd have been a drum major like Vince Carter trying to do both.
I couldn't play an instrument.
You could do so, you be to do that dances. You wouldn't be to do that playing an instrument. You'd be on with the pole dancing with the high knees and doing the splits. That dude.
I ain't doing no splits. Doing no splits. I don't know about that one.
AC wants to know why you didn't go to Locke. How'd you wind up?
I didn't go to Locke because Locke was on the other side of town, and that was our rivals. I lived on because Hoover is a street that separates Locke from the Locke. Figueroa is what separates Locke from Washington, but that's the boundary. So I lived on the west side of Figueroa. I lived on Budlong, so I had to go to Washington. And yes, I do know D'Amico Fitzgerald. I do know him. We'll have that conversation. AC, we'll have that conversation. I know D'Amico. I know him for sure.
Rodney Saucier vouches it was heavenly. He went to Howard. So
okay.
We have to live vicariously through Rodney Saucier in his days at Howard. He might have went to school with the vice president, Kamala, because Rodney kind of old. He was in the first graduating class of Howard. He was the one that said we should be the Bison, man, not the Buffaloes, the Bison. And they probably said, yeah. They said Rodney had a good idea. Yeah. All right, man. Last one. What you got?
All right. So what if we got NCAA and started sports academies that led to minor leagues and then to the big leagues? How do you think that would work out?
I think we would be taking the page out of other sports in other countries. Like I think that's how it is in the Dominican Republic and Japan, where they have farm systems where student athletes are bred to a certain age and then they go pro. There's no middleman. The only reason why we have a college requirement is because the sports that kids want to go one and done are predominantly black. And that's one of the other racist things that's happening in our faces is that no other sport requires, except for football and basketball, that you go to college or be a certain age. Like the G League is going to be the first blueprint of getting rid of the NCAA when it comes to pro sports. With the success of Jalen Green and his teammate, I want to say his name is Ubumba. I forgot his name. There's two kids that are G League straight out of high school kids, and they're playing really well.
Yeah.
So they're going to be lottery picks, and it's going to make a lot more kids say, hey, I'm not a good student. I'm not even going to fake the funk. I can go make $250,000, $500,000 playing the G League for a couple months and then go to the NBA. Or I go overseas and play. So I think basketball is going to be the blueprint. I don't think football, being as racist as it is, inherently racist as the NFL is, are they going to ever allow that? But what if there was no NCAA and it was a farm system? I think we'll be seeing a lot of these little clubs popping up like we did during the pandemic. A lot of these upstart areas where people are promising the world to these kids they can come play and get the exposure you need to go to the next level. It'll happen at the 18-year-old to 22-year-old range where you're getting your grown man strength. I too don't believe 18-year-olds are NFL ready. You said Adrian Peterson might have been. He was different. Jonathan Ogden, as great as he was, at 18, JL would tell you he wasn't NFL ready. It was until he was 20 where he was, grown man strength. Okay, I'm about to go pro. I think there's a little bit of a window right there. And I think if we had that system, no college necessary, you'll see a lot more, I wouldn't say better athletes, because how many athletes didn't make it because they couldn't make the grades? A lot of the homies from the hood that didn't have the academics. If they didn't have to have academics, you know how many gangbangers that were great athletes in Long Beach that never played past high school because they couldn't get eligible after football season? Like, I know some dudes that didn't play after football anything else the rest of the school year because they weren't eligible. Luckily, football's the first sport of the year, so they can be eligible if you went to summer school. But all these gangbangers I played with, I mean, I tell you, man, I was one of the sorriest dudes on my team from age 8 to 14. I was just on the team. I was like a left tackle, right tackle, I played defensive end, and I played with some hogs. And these dudes were just phenomenal athletes. No grades. Good kids, but the system did not do them any justice. Didn't help them at all. Didn't require them to be good students. So the streets got them. Just imagine if there was no school. It was said it was a club or a farm system where they can just be IMG from age 10 to 15, just training for a sport, and then have that $100,000 waiting for them at the end of graduation from the program. Like having some money waiting for them, or a guarantee of some sort, some insurance policy or something to make it a little bit more sweeter. Like they do in the Dominican Republic. There's money waiting for them, in the Dominican programs. But if you're really good, you go to the MLB and you make that big, long money. But until then, you can play pro at 14. And if I'm 14 years old, making $50,000 a year, I'm doing something. When I was 15, I was making $100 a week cutting hair. And I had money in my pocket. You know what I'm saying? So I know it would change the game if there was a system where students didn't have to worry about school. Only problem with that is you put all your eggs in one basket. You have to be an athlete. Because what else can you do if it don't work out? And I think that's where education, like Motan said, is so important, because it gives you other things to do. Even if you're not the best scholar in the world, it does open your horizons to different skill sets. Even if you're going to be a welder, a construction worker, or a self-made entrepreneur, you learn those things in school, and you learn about different careers in school. So I would not say students who are opting to go straight club or straight this program, no NCAA, you pigeonhole yourself to be nothing but a pro athlete. And we know how that is. That's still a 5% chance. Even if you're good, that you're going to play longer than 5 years. It's very slim chance. So it would be different. It would be interesting. But I'm kind of glad we do have education, because the way my body feels right now, I couldn't play ball past 30 anyway. What would I do after 30? What would you do after ball if that's all you could do?
I don't know, man. I mean, think about it though. For the guys like a Desmond Howard, he didn't have a great pro career. Yeah, he was a Heisman Trophy winner, but on the broadcasting, man, because that seems to be the thing now. Like Brian and guys like that, they don't make it. Matt Leinart, they don't make it, but they become analysts because of what they were able to do. So there's things to do. Or you just take your money and invest, and make sure you're not blowing your money on 200 sneakers. Every time you turn around. So it's things to be done. But I just think that where we dropping the ball at is where we have to do a little bit more economic education from early on, teaching these kids how to money manage, teaching athletes how to money manage. Because you can't give somebody who never had to manage money before tons of money. They're still not going to know how to manage money because they've never had to. So now they're really not going to manage that money. They got too much.
If you gave a student athlete $100,000, that money's going in 5 months, guaranteed. Gone, money gone. Talking about buying some frivolous stuff. Somebody gonna buy a cubic zirconian and have it implanted on their forehead. Money gone.
Vision.
I'm gonna be vision for Halloween. They gonna be stunting. I'm gonna be stunting on them fools. They don't know what's gonna happen. All right, man. Final thoughts.
Final thoughts, man. I was telling my wife earlier today, man, I almost got into it with this guy. I was getting ready to turn onto the street. I was headed to the grocery store, and he's 2 cars behind me, and he's honking. So like there are cars coming, and I'm just like, why are people honking, man? I'm not gonna kill myself because you're in a hurry. So once all the cars clear, I turn, and you can see this dude turning wide, and like I say, he's 2 cars behind me. So he turns past the other car, and he's just speeding. The other car just pulls over like, oh, this dude is tripping. So as I'm pulling into the turning lane and turning to the grocery store, I'm looking like, dude, this dude is like really tripping. He passes me by, and he looks, and he hits his brakes full on the traffic. And he's like, come on, what's up? And I'm like, oh my God. Hey, y'all, look, we're in the middle of a pandemic. We are in the middle of where the world could come. We don't even know when the next pandemic is coming, right? And we're out here. There are people who are just losing their minds just over the littlest things. Like, people, calm down. What if I was the wrong one that day? What if I was that dude who carried a gun in the car? What if I was that dude that would go crazy and just like chase this dude down and then put some slugs in him? Now there's 2 lives. Well, not 2 lives ruined because I'm gonna ruin my family's life because daddy's gonna be in jail. I'm gonna ruin this man's life because he's gonna be dead, which is gonna ruin his family's life. And then I'm gonna be in jail, probably dating some dude just so I can survive my time there. So
you better be standing up.
So people, look, man, right now, man, we all should be on the same side of each other. Right now, man, we're about to try to survive an event that could have wiped us all out, that could have left this world really crippled, could have took out billions of people. Man, let's just calm down and chill. Not everything has to be this road rage and stuff. I would think that the pandemic would have taught us to just chill. But I don't think that's it. AC said, "My bad, Jimmy."
that was
you, AC.
That was Carter on the freeway trying to get a fair one in a pandemic. We know that ain't true because he don't even want to go ref the game. He's so COVID-19 cautious, and we need that, man. Even though Governor Newsom has opened up football and some other outside sports. And my wife went and got some Cheesecake Factory tonight and said it was packed. And I said, yeah, well, people itching to get back to normal. I think we still need to be cautious. We still want to make sure these numbers continue to go down. Don't act like it's not a thing. We keep losing people. We lost the great Apostle Fred Price last week from the Faith Dome. So, prayers and thoughts and prayers to his family. Again, I actually knew his son, Fred Jr. We met at a comic book convention, and he actually came and spoke to one of our marriage couples events at my church. Good brother, his wife's good woman, and I know that he lost his life to COVID. But he had fought the good fight as a man of faith. No one's immune, and it's a serious thing. It's a real thing. And we also lost, I believe, was it Dexter Jackson? Was it Dexter Jackson? Vincent Jackson. Vincent Jackson. We still don't know how.
There could be CTE
related. They said it 3 days after they said he was missing and found him. So all this stuff is still real around us. And the older we get, the more we're starting to see people leave here. So again, continue to wear your mask, continue to social distance, continue to take care of your family, and see the positive, see the bright lights, and see the glass is half full. Because our kids, if you're not worried about how your kids' mental is, how we are attacking this thing is really weighing on them. So we got to be positive, y'all. We got to be positive for them because they are seeing their world differently than they saw in the last couple of years. And their kids, they don't know anything except what we tell them. And then the things their friends tell them and the things they see on their phone or on TV. So it's really up to us to be positive role models, positive examples for them during this time. And stay prayed up, continue to be faithful, continue to do what you're supposed to do, especially in the eyes of your kids, because you never know how that affects them if you're always depressed, if you're looking at this as a class half empty, the world's coming to an end. They'll feel the same way and they'll throw their hands up. Why should I go to school if everything's going to come to an end? So we got to make sure we stay positive and stay happy, y'all. All right, man. Collective Podcast on Thursdays at 12. AC Carter, appreciate you coming through. Rodney Sauce here. Trey Hobson. Tuesday morning, time is now. Mike Staff, pretty sure he's watching somebody's basketball game right now. My show, as you can see right there at the bottom of the screen, AC Sports Live, Tuesdays at 9. Jimmy Mack, Sucker Punch. Missed it last night. You can watch it on Facebook, replay, Thursdays at 9 p.m. And you are where you're supposed to be, man. 1585 show. Jimmy Mack named the show, by the way. We didn't know what we were going to call this show. He said, just call it 1585. You 15, I'm 85. I'm old, he's a little bit younger. It works out, man. All right, y'all. 6 minutes Monday at 3. 6 minutes with AC Carter, Anthony Carter. We used to call
Make it 10.
We used to call you CNQ. Can we still call you that? That's a cool name. I'm not sure where it came from, why we called you CNQ. Maybe because you was in House Party 1 and 2. CNQ. 6 minutes with AC on Mondays at 3. What's the topic this week? He said vaginal mesh.
Vaginal mesh is a topic.
What is it? And how can brothers get some? That's what the was. He discussed clutch last week, and I'm looking forward to see how he explains this the middle passage is a topic. All right, that's a little bit heavier.
And I'm looking forward to Vaginal Mess, sponsored by Under Armour.
Silky Carter in the 70s might be a good. How about a book club? Iceberg Slim. Let's read the book, and we all have a book club and discuss Iceberg Slim, Airtight Willie and Me, and Horror Son. Some Donald Goins books. All right, man. Y'all be easy, man. Love on one another, man.
Take care. Weekend. Be safe.
Peace out. If we press this button, it's still spinning. It's spinning, nigga. They spinning. All right.